Hey everybody, my name is April and this is Thrifty Nerdy Mom. If you are new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. We're so glad to see everybody. It is Saturday, which means it's a DIY day. But before I get into that, please like and subscribe. Join our family. We'd love to have you. If you love DIY things, I post mostly Disney-themed DIYs every Saturday. But occasionally there will be like just a seasonal DIY. But back to the DIY at hand. First of all, if you didn't see this DIY last week, it's my recycled DIY for the month, and these ears were made out of a reusable tote bag. So I'll link that up above, and yeah, totally go watch it after you watch this one. So today is DIYs made out of comic books. Mostly, like, both of them were made out of one comic book, but I had some leftovers of something, and I used like another comic book that I picked up from Dollar Tree, and I'll kind of explain that once we're going through the DIYs. But yeah, I was super impressed with it. Honestly, this is probably the easiest DIY I've ever posted. It's just a lot of gluing and like some cutting. There's not like any like handy dandy little lettering or anything like that I do a lot, but yeah. Let's jump on in. So for this first DIY, you're going to need a comic book. I picked this up from a comic book store, but Dollar Tree has some cool like Disney comic books that you can make others like little magnets with. You're going to need these crystal gems from Dollar Tree. I picked up some of these magnetic buttons from Dollar Tree. Also picked up the Mod Podge from Dollar Tree. And you're going to need a paintbrush for the Mod Podge. Oh, and some hot glue to attach. So we're going to take one of the clear gems and find smaller pictures in the comic book, and then just kind of trace them out, and I'll flip through and just like look for different pictures that might fit into the gem. After you find the pictures that you want to use, you're going to want to circle the gem. That way you have about the size that you're going to need. After you trace all your little images, you're going to cut them out of the comic book paper. And here's all the ones that I used. You can see that I used some of the Disney comic book and some of the Avengers comic book. So now we're going to take the Mod Podge and start gluing down the pictures onto the gem. You're going to want to apply a thin layer of Mod Podge onto the gem and then place down a picture. Be sure to press it down for a few seconds and make sure that the glue is going to adhere to the stone and the picture, and then you're going to want to trim up the excess. After everything's trimmed and put into place, you're going to add another layer of Mod Podge to just seal it in. And then you're going to allow this to dry. It won't take but a few minutes. After all your little gems are dried, you're going to take it, flip it over, add a fairly decent amount of hot glue, then place down your magnet button onto the hot glue and hold it firmly to let it dry. And seriously, that's all you need to do. I made 14 of these for $3, and here they are on my fridge. And they actually have like a really good magnetic hold. So for our second DIY, we are using the same Avengers comic book and this sign from Dollar Tree, except we're going to use the backside of it. Some more Mod Podge, a paintbrush to apply the Mod Podge, and some of these poster letters that I picked up from the Dollar Tree as well. You can get them in different colors and stuff like that, but I just found the green. First, before we do anything, we're going to want to remove the burlap string from the back of the sign, and then we're going to take some of these pages that I used to get pictures off of for the first DIY and just cut them into strips. You're going to need to cut out a few strips, that way you will have enough to cover the entire sign. So now to adhere the strips onto the sign, you're going to need to put down a layer of Mod Podge onto the entire sign. After all your Mod Podge is spread out in a thin layer, you're going to put down strips of the comic book. After you have your entire sign covered, you're going to again put down some Mod Podge and put a thin layer of it on top of the comic book strips. Fun tip, if you have a little bit of these strips hanging over the sign, you're going to bend it to where it's hanging over and use your scissors and kind of rub it and it easily comes off. So now we are going to add the poster letters onto the sign. I'm using Elmer's glue to kind of just put a little bit of hold onto the sign before we glue down the entire letter. And I do this that way I can move them around a little bit easier before I do the final coat. Another little fun tip, if you don't have Mod Podge, you could totally use Elmer's glue. It dries clear just as well as Mod Podge. And you're going to want to use a few dabs and then thin it out. I'm using the word crafts on the sign, but you could totally use any word. I'm just going to be hanging this in my craft room. That's why I use the word crafts. And this is it when it's finished, hanging up in my craft room. I really, really like it. And I might do another one sometime. So that was it. I hope you thought it was super simple, because honestly I thought it was super simple. Like I said, there's just gluing and cutting for most of it. And really they're customizable. You could use like old books or anything like that and use it for like kind of get the same kind of thing going. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. So glad to see you. Tune in tomorrow because I am going to be doing a pie collaboration with a little Marvel twist because it is Marvelous March and we are celebrating Marvel all month long. And tune in to my friend Kaylee Hopkins' channel. We will be doing a Captain America live chat tonight. But that's it for me for right now until this evening. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.